All right, looks like we're streaming.
We are, and you can share your screen as well.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to David T. Howard's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda that has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. All members of the public that are present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the David T. Howard Go Team to order at 4:35. First order of business, Ms. Baker, would you kindly take the roll for us, please?
Indeed, I shall. Dr. Maxwell,
Present.
Mr. Abernathy,
Present.
Mrs. Baker is here. Ms. Poe,
Present.
Ms. Schultz,
Present.
Ms. Keenan,
Present.
Ms. Lewis,
I'm
She said-
here.
She said her internet is spotty.
Ms. Walker,
She's here. She's on mute. I think you're on mute.
I'm here.
okay, there we go. Mr. Carmichael, and Mr. Jones.
Present.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone.
All right, so we do have a quorum. Next order of business is to approve today's agenda. Let me know when I have a motion to approve.
I'm here.
Okay.
Who was it?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Ms. Schultz.
Yes.
Okay. Have anyone a second?
Tanisha Poe, second.
Poe, second. It's been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Order of business is to approve today's agenda. Let me know when I have a motion. All right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passed. Next is the approval of the previous minutes from our April 12th meeting. Let me know when I have a motion to approve.
This is Mrs. Baker. I make a motion to approve.
All right, Ms. Baker with the motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Janine seconds the motion.
Ms. Walker, second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that motion passed. First order of the agenda, we have the discussion items with the 044 Business Association. So, Mr. Jones, we were just trying to get a little bit more info on exactly what you needed as far as the connection to Howard. But we were trying to suggest that maybe the foundation may be the best fit for that. But you can take the floor with that.
All right. And yes, thank you for that email correspondence last week. We had a really successful strategic planning meeting with Ms. Antone I believe it was a couple of weeks ago. And we were working on SMART goals. And a part of that was the Old Fourth Business Association and how do we connect with the school. So I was just trying to see if we can minimize redundancy and just limit the contact between the school and the 044 Business Association. So that's why I reached out as we're planning, to take significant steps in our goals. I was just saying, in what capacity did the school want to, connect with the 044 Business Association? And I believe you met with Dr. Maxwell, and I believe the decision was the foundation. So we'll just continue to work towards those SMART goals that were established during that felt team meeting, and we'll continue to progress. And if anything comes up, I'll, send you that information over the summer.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. The other thing that I need, I think, a little bit help with, and not to put you on the spot, Mr. Jones, or with anybody, or just have a conversation, is I feel like there are more than one association. Like I mean, I think there's a business association and there is a community association. I mean, I met with, and I got to look back at it a few weeks ago, and I spoke at and I don't know if it's Old Fourth Ward businesses or the community organization. I think it was a community organization, but I think there's 2 or 3. But this is one where there's a community garden, actually. They're getting a community garden, which is about a 10-minute walk. It's down Highland. It's an area where it's not big enough for a house. And so they're doing a community garden. And her name is Tess, who's a community member. But she's actually speaking to our life sciences this Wednesday in 7th grade and trying to do a partnership with them. And so, I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is to get to those organizations because of not only that redundancy, but to also make sure that our staff and the community knows, like, what are the organizations that could be a part of David T. Howard. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think with time, as more organizations, especially as hopefully we'll transition into a non-pandemic state, hopefully more community organizations will step forward and we can have that proper introduction between the school and the community. And hopefully certain organizations will connect in a meaningful way.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, and Dr. Maxwell, I'll just add, one of those organizations is the Fourth Ward Neighbors. So that was the neighborhood organization that I coordinated with on some of the traffic safety improvements. They have periodic cleanups of the neighborhood, and they asked, well, what does the school need? And I recommended that they add that Beltline access to their cleanup.
Right.
So I think this is just another example where, yeah, like you said, there are several different neighborhood organizations, and then there's the business organization, and maybe it is even just appointing someone to be a liaison to deal with all those organizations. Yeah. And Vincent, I am also on the foundation, so I will talk to the foundation, but I'll be happy to start leading up that effort with you, since you and I already have a connection. But just know that I'm also on the foundation, so I can help be a liaison for the Fourth Ward Business Association too.
All right, sounds like a plan.
And what I would like, I think, is like a flow chart. I remember at Inman, we had like the SINs, the PTO, like it was almost a type of flow chart, so we know. And it would be nice to have like a 1-pager to say, here's our community organizations, and then maybe, and then look at and I agree, Ms. Keenan, have some type of liaison for each one. Yeah.
Great. I'm happy to get the data together if Ms. Poe will help turn it into a beautiful flow chart.
Ooh.
I will not be able to do the graphics, but I can get the names and the organizations, and maybe she and I can work together.
And like contact, I think that's a great, maybe like a contact information, like contact for the president or the chair.
Yep.
Did you have a comment, Poe? I know you just stepped in there for a second.
No, I said I could definitely help. Once she gets that information, I can definitely make the flow chart.
Thanks, Ms. Poe.
All right, anything additional about 044 Business Association?
No, that's all that I have.
Okay. Next up is the ARA summary with Ms. Antone and Dr. Harper.
Good afternoon. How is everyone?
All right.
Doing well, doing well.
Wonderful. So I am going to just speak a little bit briefly about the summer ARA program that's being housed at Howard Middle School. Our program is actually for Howard Middle School students as well as King Middle School students. And this is an initiative thought out and brought to us by the district so that we can try to go ahead and remediate some loss of learning that may have happened while students were in the virtual setting. So it will be a very intensive review of curriculum for math and literacy. during the first half of the day. And the second half of the day, students have the option to remain on campus for some of the fun activities. So it's a full day program from 9 to 4, and it will include transportation, breakfast, and lunch for students. Ms. Anton, did I forget anything?
You do have a virtual option and an in-person option for those students, who may feel more comfortable with, being at home if they want to still be virtual. But it is important to note that if you are in person, there will not be pods. It will be face-to-face learning. Students will change classes to a reading teacher and then to a math teacher, and they will also have a social emotional learning block as well. And if you are, whole day in person, transportation is provided.
Is it 5 days a week or is it 4 like we currently are?
So it is 5 days a week, and on Fridays, they do not have the power up session. So it would be from 9 to 2 on Fridays and 9 to 4 if they go whole day, Monday through Thursday. Also, I think Dr. Harper may have already mentioned, but all students are invited to attend summer ARA. We have also targeted students who are failing one or more of their core classes, and we have intentionally reached out to those parents of those students who are failing to get them enrolled, as many as we possibly can. We sent out robocalls and letters to these parents. We have also worked with PTO Communications to put out social media blasts regarding summer school for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are currently at about 335 students when you look at King and Howard students together. And right now, Howard has about, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Harper, about 135 students. And we're also conducting an orientation for parents of the students who are in attendance to ARA on May the 19th at 1:00 p.m. And it will be recorded for those parents who are not able to attend. We will also have among us during summer school 2 instructional coaches. We'll have one in ELA and one in math, so we can closely monitor the progress of our ARA students. And we also talked about looking at having those students to set goals and track their own progress and have celebrations with those students during summer school. And a good thing about this is that we are going to be moving into the new year in 2021 to 2022 school year and continue to track the progress of these academic recovery academy students so that it doesn't stop this summer, but we will continue to keep the finger on the pulse throughout the year next year so that we could, continue to help the students who experience learning loss. And I think that just about covers everything. Dr. Harper, did I leave anything out?
No, ma'am. Very thorough.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Any questions for Dr. Harper or Ms. Antone?
Yeah, I have a few questions here. So what is you guys' targeted goal as far as the number, just for the Howard students, as far as how many kids that have the learning loss you're trying to get into the building for the program?
Yes, ma'am. So when we ran, we did a Infinite Campus report when we initially looked at what students we were targeting. And I want to say it was a little less than 300 students that we were targeting.
Yes, it was around 280.
Right. And so, we're trying to get as many of those students in as we possibly can. And so, very important that, we reach out intentionally, like I said earlier, to try to get them in. Of course, everyone won't attend, but, we've had a lot of success in terms of reaching many of those parents and trying to get kids in who have experienced that learning loss this year.
Okay. And is it anything from the team that we can do to kind of help you guys in this effort for the push to get the students enrolled?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have a flyer that we created that we shared. We have links, with videos and advertisement about it. We can definitely pass those things on, like we passed to PTO Communications to help get the word out there. And you can let them know that, a lot of the parents we're finding out have difficulty with trying to register or, trying to sign up. And then oftentimes we find with a lot of kids who are struggling, their parents may not even have email addresses on file or may not even have an email account, or just did not get the communication. And if they did, and they did try to sign up, they're really experiencing some difficulty with doing so. And so Dr. Harper and myself, we have been manually registering kids. Like if we know that there's a kid that would like to sign up, you can just shoot us an email and let us know. And, and we'll reach out to that parent and get them signed up. And it only takes us about 1 minute to get it done.
Yeah.
Whereas it might take them 20, 30 minutes trying to figure out what to do. So if you know of a kid or parent in need, just reach out to us and let us know, and we can definitely get them signed up quickly. The deadline is May 14th. It has been extended to May 14th.
All right. Okay. And are those flyers available in paper copies?
Well, we can definitely make some paper copies for you. We do have it, we've sent it out electronically, but I mean, if that's something that you need, I don't see anything that's stopping us from getting it to you.
Ms. Walker, we can print it, and if you want to stop by, like we could give you some flyers for sure.
Yeah, because I think a couple of them, and just like certain communities that have like community boards and things like that will be really helpful. Like you said, because we have the challenge of the technology and the emails and not really knowing how to access. So I think that'll really help.
Okay.
And have somewhere productive for their kids to go with something that they actually need.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
And Coach Abernathy, can you, Miss Antone, can you give the information to the links and the flyer to Coach Abernathy? And Coach, can you send that out to the Go team?
Yes. Yes, I can definitely get that out there. And just to put a real quick plug in there, thank you, Mr. Jones, for getting that movement going with reaching out to Old Fourth Ward. That's one of the things that's blooming from our FELP committee. So I do appreciate that. Just want to put that plug in. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, next up is the Saturday school and 8th grade position.
Yeah, so, and Ms. Antone, I might want you to talk a little bit about, I know we're working on the 8th grade positions, and in general terms, just as far as what, I think I'm getting a call from to vote for Go Team, but because it's a 3,500 number, but a little bit about the positions. But Saturday school is definitely going to be rolling in the fall. We're starting to look at dates. We have, the first thing that we need to do is to send out information on who wants to lead Saturday school. And we haven't done that yet because of the Academic Recovery Academy. And so again, that's happening this summer. And we think that some of those same teachers, the same staff, that they would probably want to sign up for Saturday school. So we're trying to get them focused on ARA, and then they can apply for that. So we're working on the summer, before the assistant principals leave in June, to post that Saturday school position. And we want to have that leader or that administrator in charge of that. But along with that is we have a couple of 8th grade positions. Miss Wilson is taking one period off in math, and Dr. Holmes in ELA to really focus on the students that are struggling. And so students, those 280 students. And so they're going to help keep track of those students. And so they're going to look at what's happening with the ARA and how they did there. And then they're also going to look at what are their needs as they come into the school building next year. And that could be Saturday school. It could be the TIP program. We're going to continue the TIP program where we do that virtually after school. But so these programs that we're going to have, that they're going to help with that, and they're going to look at the data, and they're going to give that information to us, to administration, and where they're basically tracking those students, and so that we don't track them for a semester or for 9 weeks, that we're tracking them in real time, so that we can. So for instance, things that are coming out is that we're going to have a new universal screener. It's not going to be STAR anymore. It's actually going to be NWEA. It's through MAP, which personally I really like to have it in Indiana. I think it's a better universal screener. So they would take that universal screener and they would look at those 280 students, and then they would plug that in to see how they're, not, again, that's the baseline, but then that second one, which would be in the winter, how they're doing there. So we're really, and they're going to get a little bit of a stipend for that also. And so that's going to be a part of, they will only be, not only be part of Saturday school, but they'll be part of just the overall, academic recovery for those students. I don't know, Ms. Antone, if you want to say any more about those positions. I know that you spearheaded the duties and responsibilities.
Yeah, so it will be, well, of course, not all of the students will attend summer school, but many of them will be there. But we'll start the process this summer when we're in summer school with tracking those students and, trying to help them self-reflect as well and set goals. But when we come in the fall, we're right now in the process of trying to map out what the entire year will look like as we try to track these students, week to week, month to month, having them set goals, looking at where they are, trying to make sure they're making progress, and making sure we're working with the admin and leadership teams to make sure that we're making some informed decisions as to what to do with those students, to make sure that they are able to make gains based on the learning loss this year. But we are in the planning phase in terms of what that looks like. We do know, we talked about looking at what the summer school curriculum is and making sure we make the best of that this summer, making sure that we have those teachers who will be working with monitoring this data get training on NWEA so that they understand how to interpret that data and how to really use it to maximize how to help our students who are struggling with that. Based on the learning loss, and making sure they are also working with teachers to let them know and keep them up to speed on, what overall that group of students are struggling with, because we can also see, us having those discussions in our vertical team meetings in terms of what those struggles are, what are some of the common struggles, and what are some things that we can put in place overall as a school as we look at trying to strengthen that group of students who have experienced the learning loss. What strategies, strategic school-wide strategies can we put in place as a school to help our students? And so we're looking at that and we're planning, we're excited. And so we'll see how it goes.
And just to and then we can answer any questions, is that spoke to Gail Johnson today, because if you remember, she's the one that kind of spoke to us about Saturday school. I mean, our plan is to meet in the summer to continue with that. That's why we want to get the administrator in charge of Saturday school. So then that Gail would give us, Principal Johnson would also give us her person so that they could meet a few times before the fall starts. So, we're just really excited to get this started. We have to look at some transportation. Already talked to Mr. Franklin about that. So, but we can't wait for that to get started. It's going to be a work in progress. It's one of those things that you can always plan for it, but I'm always about, like, instead of just keep planning and planning, that we're going to plan as much as we can, get it started, and then tweak it as we go, because we know it's something that's going to be positive to our students. So.
Right, and just can't leave out celebrations. We got to make sure we have those milestone celebrations. Right.
Thank you.
Quick question. So the new screener, that's going to start in the summer with recovery
fall.
program?
It will start in the fall. Okay. Winter, and spring. So it's kind of like STAR was this year, kind of those 3 days, like August, December, January, and then March and April. So that screener, NWEA, will replace STAR.
I think I heard you guys speak about in the summertime, though, using that as a way to kind of track the students.
No, we're just going to start using that data. Like they're going to start working on the data that they have now. It's a lot of that data is in the student data profile that we have, where the data is all with that one student. So they're going to start looking at the data they have now, which will be the old STAR data.
Okay. Thanks.
Can I just, because I'm writing the notes, so the minutes, is that screening tool for math and reading, or just math?
That's a great question. Math and reading.
Okay, so we will no longer use STAR at all?
We'll not use STAR.
Okay, will we still have AR?
That's a great question. And then I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that. That's a great question.
I was just wondering, because, a lot of language arts teachers use that for a comprehension piece for books and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to text that. I can't believe that question was not asked, but to be quite honest, like Friday, we were getting this information in like a 2-hour period. It was like a fire hose a little bit, it was a lot of information because we had to go with the ARA information with that. So, it was a lot of information. And so I will make sure, I can't believe that wasn't asked, but I'm going to try to text and find out, because that's a really important question. I agree, Ms. Baker.
Well, it's the same
I'll try to find that out right away.
the same company is AR and STAR. They're like the same.
I know.
Right. And it's something that could be purchased, by the school as well. I know sometimes district, pay for it when it's something that's being used district wide, but it is something that, I guess we could discuss as a school.
Yeah, I think
It actually came up. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
it
go ahead,
actually
Ms.
came
Pope.
up in one of my instructional text threads. And so I was looking through to see what the answer was. And the answer from the instructional text, the director of instructional technology is yes. And I just texted her while you were talking to double check. And she says, yes, we will still have AR.
Oh, that's great. Great news. Ms. Poe, I'm so glad that you could just text those central office people and get the answers right away.
It's funny because that question did come up like in the thread for another, because an elementary person had asked, because the start AR is huge in elementary. So yes, we will still have it.
Okay, that's great news.
Dr. Maxwell, I had a question. Since it's 2 8th grade teachers who will be, taking a class period to facilitate Saturday school, does that mean 8th grade class sizes are going to increase a bit for math and ELA?
So a couple things. One is, so they're not necessarily going to facilitate the Saturday school. That they're going to look at the data of Saturday.
Oh,
school,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I
right?
misspoke. No,
Yeah,
you explained it clearly. I just misspoke.
And so, the class sizes will go up, but how I always like to look at it too. We look at the numbers like Dr. Harper does to let us know like what those class sizes would look like. But you think of it that we have 16 sections. So like we have 16 sections of math and reading. So it would go from 16 to 15 sections. And so that we feel comfortable. And we've done that actually before. Actually, we had a science teacher that had actually had 2 periods off, and we went from 16 to 14 sections. And we did that also this year. So we feel really good that the class sizes will not change dramatically at all.
All right, Ms. Keating, you're up with traffic safety debate.
Okay, great. I finally have great news. On our traffic safety improvements, the flashing crosswalk has been installed at Randolph and Magruder. So that again is the path that people take from the Beltline. And it's working very well. I've tested it out a few times. I know Dr. Maxwell's been there. So that's great. The other good news is the 2 stop signs that we're expecting near the school. One is going to be at Randolph and John Wesley Dobbs. The other stop sign is going to be at Irwin and Howell. Those 2 new stop signs should be installed mid-June. So I'll continue to work with the city, and if they're not up by mid-June, continue to monitor those. And then once those are up, all of the safety improvements that the city agreed to install for the school will be completed.
And so I got to tell you the story. I told this to Ms. Keenan and Coach Abernathy, but I think that I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the story. Is that so? I run out there. It just happened. Like the lights, went up, and so I was excited to see it used for the first time. And so there was a young mother with a baby in a baby carriage, and she was pushing the button. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you're the first person to use this." And she said, "Yes, but actually I was the first person about 15 minutes ago because I used it to cross the street the other way." And she goes, And she was like really excited. She goes, I am so glad they put a school here because I was so nervous of walking my baby across, and now I have this. So, I have this light. So, it's not just for our kids, but it's for the community. And so I think definitely some people in our community, not just us, are really excited about seeing that light there. And so that's my story. And so that is, if there's any questions, we can go with Miss Allen.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm just giving a small update about testing. We've been doing the Georgia milestones for now. This is day 5 of official testing. We've done some makeups as well. And so far it's chugging right along. It's been a bit uneventful other than the preparation, but that's to be expected. The tornado warning, not drill, but warning was quite interesting for all of us during that time. But we really only have one more official testing, which is just not brand new one, but like, it's not a makeup, right? So our 6th graders take math 1 and 2. Our 8th graders take social studies, section 1 and 2. And at that point, we'll be doing just makeup testing once past Thursday. EOC testing has to conclude by Friday. So there'll be some makeup sessions that I'll be pushing hard for by the end of Friday. And then the EOG, they get through Tuesday. And so we'll finish up Monday and Tuesday of next week are both regular instructional days. However, if a student missed a session and needs to make it up, they'll just be pulled out of their session. If that student is virtual and had opted to participate in the milestones, same thing, they'll be invited in. We'll have a place for them. Our virtual students have been getting dropped off at 9 a.m. They've been getting picked up. Our schedule that we created for testing days for the most part has worked for us. We kind of was intentional around setting certain times because we knew that it would be kind of fluid about what time we were releasing. We've been able to get some students out early, quietly, and minimally disrupting any other testing sessions that's still resuming. But I know that one test session went until maybe 12:15 today, so that was about 15 minutes after the estimated 12 o'clock pickup time. But, we told them that, these times vary. And so the parents have worked with us. We hope that we've been working with the parents. And it has really helped. Just to kind of report that it's really helped that we asked that only students who are testing to come into the building. And boy, I tell you, we kind of needed it because with quarantining students and quarantining teachers, and you just don't know what happens. And then students, even though you sent the messages out, correspondence out about milestones is happening, right? Then you get the family's like, I didn't know, and I still sent my kid today because I want them to test. And so we've been, again, able to get students tested at the last minute, even though they weren't on the roster. So hopefully I wasn't too long-winded, but those are just some of the updates about the testing.
Any questions about the testing? I just want to thank Miss Allen in front of all of you, and I thanked her before because this is a different, we might not have a situation with a testing coordinator that has this situation where you have 4 different types of kids. You have the virtual student and the in-person student that either is testing or not testing, and a lot of communication. And even though we've gotten out of that communication, Miss Allen would probably tell you way over 100 emails individually of, no, you have to do this if you don't want to test, or yes, if you want to test, you have to do this. And so it's definitely been it's been a struggle at times to make sure that everybody is where they need to be. And the staff has been great. And I'm really glad that, this is a year where there's not that we don't have a CCRPI. So it's kind of a practice year for the child if they want to take it, and a practice year for the teacher. And we didn't do this last year, obviously. And we have new teachers last year and this year. So it was really good for them, if they were new to Georgia, to start understanding what the Georgia milestones are, how to proctor them. And so I think it's really been good for the staff also. So kudos to Miss Allen, kudos to the staff getting this done. And we have one more day, like she said, on Thursday.
And I definitely second that. She has done an amazing job.
Quick question about that. Will the test be used as not really an assessment, but as a way to kind of guide and see where the students are, even though the test is voluntary?
Yeah, I mean,
that way.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Ms. Walker. We've always said that it's definitely, the test is not for any type of placement, negative or positive, but it is for the individual student. That student is going to get data, and we'll use that data for that child, especially for that child that might be struggling, because that data is going to be broken down into different math skills and different, English language arts skills. And so, we may be looking at the milestone for next year and comparing it to them, which will be a good thing to see, did they improve in those areas? So, yeah, I mean, I definitely will use that data on an individual level.
I think I had a conversation with my son, and I think if this is something we can implement, and I think we kind of did in the past, I can't remember, but to talk to the students more in depth about the milestones and what the numbers mean, because the only thing he was really focused on, which was interesting to me, was the grade equivalent. And I was like, well, it's a little more complicated than that. And so I told him I was going to go through it with him to let him know how he really, stands up against other students, but that's only one marker. And so kind of helping kids understand and see what those numbers really mean in a really broken down way, I think will really help them to kind of own it and know what they are.
I agree. And just to piggyback on that is, we are going to have data conversations one more time, not about the milestones, but you might just remind him that he will have one more data conversation here next week. And so we will be talking about at least the data that we have now, including that last star. Okay.
All right.
And Dr. Maxwell, I have a question about that. I received an email for one of my kids on how to sign up and get their STAR test. So I did that, but I didn't receive it for the other child. So can the kids get a copy of their STAR scores during that data meeting, that they can share with their parents? Because I still haven't seen the STAR scores for one of my kids.
Yeah. Miss Allen, I don't know if you're still on there as far as how we could do that, or if we could do that.
So,
well, every child has a copy of it that they have in their advisory Google Classroom because they type the scores on there.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
Thanks, Ms. Baker. That's what I was going to say, that and not just but the ELA teachers and math teachers should have, before we have our data conferences, because the STAR happened in March, the teachers are expected, kindly to say that, but they are expected to have these conversations with students because they're talking about growth. And so we include them in our school-wide data conferences to kind of talk about the whole child, where we'll talk about grades and report cards in addition to that conversation. So the score should be written down by your child already. But when we do our data conference, we do direct students to write down that score. I think many also have them write down the percentile rank. Inside of that, it's called a data workbook. Each child has their own. So you would even, Ms. Keenan, be able to talk with Charlotte right now and ask her to pull up her data workbook. And you'd be able to see, that first STAR score, that second STAR score. And then when we get to this data conference, the third one. I do want to be transparent to say that what we're saying scores, I also know what you may be asking for, Ms. Keenan, is really the parent report, which does clarify the definitions of some of those, the terminology inside of there. And so that you'll get a score, you won't fully get a report. So I know I'm delayed in answering your email, Ms. Keenan. I did get it. My apologies. I've been a little loaded with this testing, but I do have it where I was going to send you the report. But in regards to the report, because I know it's more than just for, you, but when we think about all of the students, that's just a conversation that we have been trying to think through, and I'm picking up my child, think through, how to get the parent report to all of the families. So we're not sure if we're going to mail it or if the scores this year are sufficient, since it's been such an interesting year.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I think we're going to NWA, because there's a student login in that NWA, and I think there's a way that it's just more user-friendly for parents to see that data. I know that's one of the reasons why we're going from all-in learning to another platform for next year for our common formative assessments, because it's something that it would be easily be shareable with students and parents. So, yeah, let's work on it.
Is that report something that can be pushed out through Infinite Campus?
Oh, Ms. Walker, I wish.
Yeah,
that seems like the easiest solution.
Yeah, no.
Because it's very comprehensive, and it's helped me because I can tell you when they did the data conferences, it was a bit disjointed and kind of all over the place, and so students didn't know. It was a lot. So I stopped short of saying everybody didn't get everything they needed. And so as a parent, if you kind of want to help your kid and that goal, helping them with goals and things like that, it's kind of hard just having one number and not really knowing the context of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And we do understand that. Actually, when we reached out to STAR, the provider of this, and we inquired about the parent report, at first they said that it was a parent report. And then when you get the first one, it's trial and error for the first parent to say, hey, I got my score. I'm excited about that. But we do want to let you know it's just the score. And that comes directly from the provider, the vendor, Renaissance. And so that's not anything that we can override.
So I think, but what I was telling you too, Ms. Walker, is where I was in Indiana, we had Power School. And Power School, what you could do, and maybe Infinite Campus, you could do it, but Power School, you could take anything you wanted, if it was a grade report, if it was a star report, and then you matched up the student number, because you had that for the star report, and you matched them. And then and it would send out email with the attachment. So it would have, it would have your son, it would have Miss Keenan's daughters. Like, it was really easy. And I've asked Barbara Sylvester from Infinite Campus. I feel like that's something we can do right now. It's a third-party app. It's called Clever. And all you do is you pull out any information you want, any attachment and the email, and you just send it to them. And it's a little bit frustrating that you can't do that in 2021.
Right. It seems like as big of a platform as Infinite Campus is, we need to
do that
get that way and make it more automated, because I don't think it should be on the school or even, the leadership to have to send that out one by one or whatever. It's too tedious and laborious.
Right.
And I know that could be an automatic process.
No, I understand. But we have a couple parents on Go Team, and that's one of the reasons we have Go Team, to say, gosh, that star report's really is powerful. So let's talk. I'm going to talk to Miss Allen. I believe we sent out the grade card at the end of the year anyway. That's the one thing that we do mail. And so if we could get some help with our front office staff to get that star score, because then maybe you could get all three of those. Maybe we could do that as a last email or last mailing, snail mail, but last mail with that information. Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I got it. Let me write that down. Okay.
The rest of the way out.
Oh, yeah. So Lunch and Learn, May 13th. So that's Thursday. We're going to be talking about middle school math, that progression. It started out as a K through 12, but now it's fine. It's just a 6 through 12 information, but more for us, it's focusing on the rising 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so that will be on Thursday. it will be with Dr. Bachman and Ms. Hollis. So the Grady leadership, along with Dr. Patterson, who's our middle school coordinator in math, and then also Dr. Woolfolk. And so that will be lunch and learn. And again, it's at noon. Some people might not be able to be on there, but Ms. Poe will make sure that is recorded. And so that will be on our YouTube, David T. Howard YouTube channel. Go Team voting is happening right now. And so we have some parents that will be taking Ms. Lewis's position. And then, and so we have just the one candidate for, with Mr. Webb. I told Mr. Webb today, all you need is one vote. And then he will be a Go Team member. And so he's excited about that. He was a little upset. I don't know what happened. And I just want to bring this out to the public, but it had his questions where he could answer, and it only had the middle one answered, but the other two said something like, I refuse to answer, or I'm not, but he said, I sent it on a document and I answered all those questions. I mean, Mr. Webb, well, the one thing he is verbose. Like he loves to write and talk. Like he wanted people to know his, his opinions on those questions. And I said, well, reach back out to him, but that's not like him. He definitely answered all those questions. So update on the fourth quarter. We've kind of talked a little bit about the updates of the fourth quarter, but I think 10 days of in-person left. I know we have two more asynchronous Wednesdays, because that last day will not be asynchronous. I put that on the announcement. So that last Wednesday will be in person for those in-person students. We're working towards our end of the year activities. And I know Dr. Harper is working on that. Oh, I tell you the other update for the fourth quarter, and Ms. Poe will be getting out of this information, or I will be, but Ms. Poe, Ms. Beatles and I will be working on picking up laptops. So if and this would be great to talk to any parents, but if their child is not going to go into summer school, then we are going to return all those laptops. A lot of those laptops are foundation laptops. And so we want to make sure we get all of those laptops back. If they are in summer school, Ms. Poe, am I right? They do keep that for summer school, that laptop.
Correct. If they're taking summer school courses, they'll keep it and they'll turn it in after summer school is over.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can think about right now with the fourth quarter. Updates on new hires. We've hired 2 science teachers and 1 social studies teacher so far. We think we're going to have some special education openings, not because anybody is resigning or retiring, but I think we're going to get 1 or 2 more interrelated teachers because of our special education population. And we may or may not get another autism teacher, because we have a lot of autism students this next year. And so the first science teacher name is Mr. Hood, Mr. Anthony Hood. And so he has been approved, and he's transitioning back to teaching. He was making a lot of money in the business world, but wanted to really focus on teaching. He fell in love with teaching, and so he's changing his career, and he's teaching science for us next year. And he's from the Georgia, not really, I think in and around Atlanta. We also have Miss Ashanti Pilgrim, who is a science teacher. We hired her, and she is from one of the Carolinas, I think North Carolina, but she has some family in Georgia, and was in Georgia for a time. I think taught at North Atlanta, if I remember right. I'm sorry, that's not her. That's our social studies teacher. But Miss Pilgrim taught PE. She might be a coach, Coach Abernathy. She actually, one of her favorite stories, when you said, like, when did you, give me some adversity in your life, like what happened? And she said something happened with the boys basketball coach, and she was teaching girls basketball, and she actually taught girls and boys basketball for a year. That reminds me of you a little bit. But anyway, yeah, she's a really good coach, but really good teacher. And she teaches sixth grade science as a sixth grade lead where she is right now. So really happy for her to hire her. And the last person is, I don't know if anybody can help me. I know her name, but I mean, I know it, but I'm not spelling it correctly because I don't know how to. Is Miss Antone still on here, if she remembers?
I am trying to remember.
I can't spell her name right. And so that's a really good social studies teacher. I cannot believe, I must not, I know it starts with an H, and I thought it was H-U. Of course, I don't have it prepared. And let me try it one more time. I will send that in an email. I'll send you all their information because I thought it was Haweska as her last name. And she is from out of state also, but she was one I think that taught at North Atlanta for a time. And she's back and we're just really lucky to have her. She teaches gifted. She's gifted certified. And I think she's gonna be really a good hire for us. So that's it right now, which is great. Only 3 positions right now. We're still looking for a parent liaison though. We have not had very many applicants for that, or the applicants did not, we know we really wanted to focus on trying to get a bilingual parent liaison. And so all the candidates right now, they're not bilingual. And okay, and the last thing, so the update for the 21-22. So tours, we plan on doing some tours of the school this summer or at the end of the summer with all 3 grade levels. So that's kind of what we were going to do the year before. So, obviously with the pandemic and I mean, looking at even the vaccinations that are happening with, the 12 to 15-year-old kids. So anyway, it looks like we're on the right track to not only open like a regular school year, but to conduct these tours. We're going to have a grand opening that we were supposed to have last year. So we're going to have a grand opening sometime in August and September. So those dates will happen. I did put down laptops because we are using those laptops for the testing this year. And these are new laptops, great, heavy case, strong case, definitely. I mean, Ms. Poe, I don't know if you want to say anything. I think the device is strong also. I don't know if you want to say anything about the devices for next year.
Oh, they are wonderful. They're HP. In the past, we've had Lenovo, and so the current devices are HP touchscreen. I think the real name is a HP Touch 360X, and they are wonderful. The machines are faster. The cases are like durable. Like I got so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, a case that actually will protect the device from breaking. Hey, who would have thought? They're nice and clean and sleek, and they are bigger. One of the kids saw them and was like, oh, these are actually bigger than the ones I have now. So they're bigger screen. One of the kids said that the keyboards are easier to use because of the size. So they're really excited whenever I tell them that that's the device that they're going to have next year. They're testing devices. So it's looking good.
Good.
Are these devices for a certain grade level or a certain thing, or can you?
No, actually, all students in APS first grade through 12th will get these touchscreen devices. The only difference is a certain middle schools, well, all middle schools other than us, who is Sutton and Howard, will not get is not part of this one. And another one, they all will get a different device than we will get. But all schools will get them because they're having the Title I middle schools and 4 high schools are getting machines that have hotspots built into them via a Verizon grant. And so that's for the other schools, but we're not Title I. So we're still getting the nice new machine, and they're ordering separate hotspots for our students. So I think all in all, we're gonna have more than enough hotspots for the upcoming year. I think I saw somewhere where it's gonna be a total of 20,000 hotspots coming in, not to mention all the hotspots that will be built into the devices for the Verizon schools. So I think it's going to look really good when it comes to connection for APS, because honestly, that's the new barrier in our world right now, is if you have connectivity, if you have Wi-Fi access or not. And they are really working hard to make sure that all of our students have access.
That is awesome. It's so many kudos for that.
And Ms. Poe, do you know, are the majority of the machines already, have they already been received by APS? You know, are we going to prevent the problems or avoid the problems that we had last time where computers didn't, you know, they weren't shipped and received until October, November, December?
Are you talking about my laptops that are on that barge in Savannah that I wanted to drive down and get?
Yes,
Yeah. I was willing and able to go down there to get my devices off that barge. I right now, a lot of them have been received because they are the machines that we're testing on. And so what they're doing is they're allowing us to use those machines for testing so that all students are using the same device for testing. Then they will take them back and clean up the ones that they already have and, like, you know, outfit them however they're supposed to be. So yes, a lot of them are in actually in our custody of APS already. And so, yes, Ms. Keenan, that's a big deal for us.
That's great.
Can I ask a question about the new hires? Can I find out for the notes what grade levels are joining?
Yeah, so it's Miss Evans. I'm sorry, I cannot say her first name very well. It's like hints. I don't know how to spell it because I put H.F. Evans. So her last name is Evans. I'm sorry. And so right now, Miss Baker, we just don't have a grade level right now because it just kind of depends on where we might move a teacher. So so I need to talk to that teacher first that we have to move that teacher if needed. That's why I don't have really a grade level. I can tell you, Mr. Hood is definitely sixth grade. Definitely sixth grade. And so I just don't know about Miss Pilgrim or Miss Evans at this time. And the other reason why I don't like to think about grade levels just yet, because if we have any other openings, like for instance, social studies and science, that might change what grade level the new teacher will be in, depending, because what we try to do, one of the goals is that we try to have one new teacher to the building. I mean, it might not be they might have taught for 10 or 15 years, but a new teacher on one team, like to not have two or more on one team, because then those other three teachers can help them out. Or like in teaming in 8th grade, we don't have teaming in 8th grade. So, you know, making sure that it would be nice to have like one ELA teacher that is new or one math teacher that is new. So we try to work on that. So yeah.
Dr. Maxwell, I wanted to ask you, speaking of grand opening and orientation, will the Go team still do an orientation?
So
or a tour? I know we discussed that early on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that should be our first meeting next year. Like, you know, whatever we move, you know, that we meet in that July or early August is, I think we should meet. And hopefully we have the Go team meeting in person for the first time in a long time. So yeah.
But we are having some you're having some tours and things like that in the summer, correct?
Yeah, if we get some tours of the summer with parents, and yeah, I mean, we want the Go team to be like one of the first ones in line for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, great. Keep us updated.
Yeah. And I want to say that is like, I'm giving you some updates, but you know, I'll update you throughout the summer and email you. I mean, that's all I have right now. I do want to say thank you to Ms. Schultz, which is her last Go team meeting. So first I want to say kudos to Ms. Schultz and thank you.
Guys, I'll miss you.
And just being the leader that you are. And thank you to Angie. I mean, she's been here since the beginning. I mean, Angie, have you been here since the very beginning, Miss Lewis?
Yeah, I was here when Dr. Bachman switched over to Grady.
I mean, when Go Team started, right? That first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Go Team. So she's.
Yeah, I was on the hiring committee for you, actually.
I know. I remember you. I remember, you know, like stuff like that. I remember where everybody was sitting, actually. Like
Oh, yeah.
Brown to Dr. Bryant, Lakita. I mean, I remember, basically everyone on that committee and where they sat. So, and I'm glad you hired me. It's the best job I've ever had.
I was a full, both hands raised for you, just so you know.
Thanks, Ms. Lewis. Well, thank you. That's why I wanted to recognize you, because, I mean, the Go Team was new back then. And so you all had to kind of figure it out and work it out. And you've been through, you know, a lot of these meetings where the math meetings are dress code, or, you know, all of these tough meetings. And you've been a part of that, and was just a big supporter of Inman and Howard. And just thank you for all your time that you spent on the Go Team.
Yeah, please still consider me if you guys need any help or need a place to meet or something. If Blueprint can be an option or a solution to something, we're still here.
Yeah, don't worry. We're definitely going to be calling you for sure.
All right.
So you're an advocate for the Grady cluster or the Midtown cluster next year, right?
Yes, exactly.
And Dr. Maxwell, we want to thank you for being a great leader for our school, as well as, you know, leading us through this virtual journey that we had no idea of what it was going to look like last March. So we definitely appreciate all that you do for the school, our parents as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Maxwell. Absolutely. I echo that.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully we're coming to
same.
the end of this virtual journey, Coach.
Hopefully.
Hopefully this is the end.
I'm still waiting on the sports. So we haven't got confirmed on that yet. So I'm still waiting.
I know. I mean, the first kid that's going to don a David T. Howard uniform of some kind and play some type of game, you know. I mean, yeah. So it's be great.
Yeah, we're definitely patiently waiting to see how that turns out. So I'm assuming there are no public comments or announcements. Anybody have any announcements before we adjourn?
I just personally think we should take a sigh of relief that we all made it through this tremendous time, and we didn't fold under many times that it was extremely hard. Parents, coaches, principals, administrators, students, staff alike. So yeah, I think we can just breathe a sigh of relief, and summer is coming, and I hope everyone has a great summer and you have something to celebrate. So yeah.
Well, I think me as a parent too, and we have parents on here, is that the teachers at David T. Howard have just been outstanding. It's outstanding for my son. And, you know, they keep doing what they're doing and doing in a virtual world and learning on the go early on, especially, and just love that. Just love them and what they've done. So
I think a lot of us are a lot stronger on the other side of this. So I think it's taught us a lot and took a lot of us out of our comfort zones, especially when it came to technology. Because if you think about a PE teacher and how much technology we used before the pandemic, I mean, it has opened our eyes really wide on how that we could use different resources.
A very, very high learning curve for me.
Very,
I know.
very high learning curve.
yeah, but I think it's where we're going to take some of it back, especially the parts that engage students. And to me, I just think anytime, anywhere learning, like there really shouldn't be a student who misses a class. Like they don't really have to miss a class, whether they are hopefully not suspended, but if they're suspended, but if they're sick or whatever the case may be, that they can get to that lesson. You know, Miss Pryor talked about that today in band. Like, you know, they can still be at home and practicing their instrument. You give me a place where I can turn on a Zoom that I could at least talk to them about the start of the lesson. I think that those are kind of powerful things that we've thought about, but I think that now as a staff, we've seen that we'll all want to do. It's not like, oh, the principal's telling us to do this. It's like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's continue with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else before we adjourn?
Yeah.
All right. Let me know when I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Tanisha Pope.
All right, Ms. Poe with the motion. Somebody with a second.
I will second my last GoTeam meeting come to a close. Thank
And
you.
we're gonna definitely miss you, Ms. Schultz.
I'll miss y'all as well. I trust you guys. We're in good hands.
All right. Motion by Ms. Poe, second by Ms. Schultz. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned, and definitely I want to thank everyone. Thank everyone. It's been
Thanks,
an
everybody.
awesome year.
Thank you all.
And look for great things to come.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
Bye,
good
everybody.